demonstrates my thoughts exactly, but maybe we'll get that
There
shown
it
eventually. Okay, there it is, ban Galio. And it does get banned immediately by BBQ.
Now we have the chance of seeing some real mid lane action happen. Last time we saw some mid lane action, and it was yesterday with Faker against Septed, in which I believe at 11 minutes there was an 80 CS lead with 3 levels up at an inhibitor turret.
Yeah, Septed was like 0-4 at some point.
We've been deprived so far of some serious mid lane action. So we can expect to see it this time around. Not to the extent of yesterday, but at least it will be 2 champions that can have kill pressure on each other.
Yeah, and outside of that Galio, it just looks like standard bans so far. Nothing really different about the Ken and Elise bans. Seems like most of the teams have kind of just figured out what is the meta, what are the champions that you ban nowadays.
Lee Sin and Zach are still available. ROX can choose not to ban one of the 2 and will be walking away with one of the best junglers. Let's hope they do that, and we're going to get ourselves a real action-packed match.
We'll see if Mighty Bear can actually perform on a pick such as Lee Sin.
I'm hoping for the Zach. I'm hoping Zach goes through.
I don't think there's any way either of these teams would let it through. And ROX is like, no, we don't want to play Zach. We're just going to ban it. Don't want to let that one through.
But will ROX take the same approach and go with the Lee Sin?
Look, there it is.
Can I buy a rooster?
Can I buy an A? For the ban Galio.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Get the Rift Heralds. BBQ's win condition by ban Galio. I wonder if now that they've banned Galio, they have a better chance.
You know, that totally escaped me. I forgot that's how you play Wheel of Fortune.
It out. There you go.
Tigers commit to the late game again, though. First picking Caitlyn, as they did in the red side, so their composition can be similar to last time, but will BBQ put all their eggs in the early game basket?
I mean, it's
they will.
Wow.
Yeah, you just got it. There you go. There you go.
I was wondering, you know, Rumble is such a tempting pick for any team, really. It has so much power up in the top lane. You can push early on. Tons of front-loaded damage with that equalizer. And they will, in fact, go for both Rumble and Lee Sin. I mean, they're good picks, but I hope they don't get pulled into a similar situation. At least this time they don't have to face the Galio.
Yeah, they don't look so insecure about their early game this time around as they go ahead and take the Lee and Rumble again. Hopefully this time around they make some bigger waves in the top set of the map. We might see a Kled ban, however. Kled, I feel, was one of the less exploitable top laners, as we saw them try to attempt a dive to the top side, but there was heroic entrance. But even without that heroic entrance, it did not look like they were going to be able to take down Linderang in the top side. But ROX recognized that the Kled was quite important, and they will take it away before it goes and that second rotation, not giving BBQ a chance to ban it away.
You're in the minds of the ROX Tigers right now, Crumbs.
Thank you.
Reading their every move.
I did have Frost Flakes this morning.
Well, there you go. Okay, Braum is going to be taken up here by BBQ. It was banned last time by the ROX Tigers in the second ban phase, so definitely a bit of a switcheroo up here.
This Braum can be paired with a Kalista. What do those signs say? Read away.
Mickey, you're my super Lukey.
What?
Machi. Yeah, I think it's from a song, like a K-pop song.
Okay. I thought that was just a cute way of saying something. But Kalista and Gragas taken away. Kalista, the one that we're talking about pairing again in the minds of these teams. Kalista with Braum, such a strong early game composition. You can never really count Kalista out. Her ability to return fights when you overcommit is just tremendous. But Gragas, making sure that there is no super strong late game jungler. And Ivern, odd pick to deny.
Definitely kind of weird. I don't remember seeing Mighty Bear playing much Ivern.
I'm not entirely sure. Ivern was selected in the LCK so far.
Yeah.
If it was Mighty Bear, we can't quite remember, but it is a pick that has seen some action, and it's one of the ones that falls into the category of ensuring a strong. So whatever ROX has left, will have to be a jungler that doesn't offer quite as much utility, will be having to take that damage route, and that makes things a little bit easier when it comes to dealing with these fights, when you don't have such a big beefy front line to prevent Lee Sin from getting some crazy plays off.
And it looks like actually they did pick Ivern one time.
That is
I think
pick.
it was Mighty Bear.
Yeah, it's got to be him, otherwise it would not have been banned.
I'm just making sure. Yeah, he played one game of Ivern, but they lost, so kind of interesting. Either way, we know that he does play it.
I think we saw that one. Maybe it was against SKT, if I remember correctly. Nonetheless, the Ivern ban does make some sense. And now BBQ, they don't have the option of going with the Talia themselves. I really want to see a Caso come out here. It's a good matchup into Talia. You do have that late game threat, and you can assassinate these hyper carries such as Caitlyn really quickly when you combo it with an equalizer on top of it, the long range follow-up from Varus, maybe even Dragon's Rage on top of everything. The Rek'Sai, not the greatest pick right now.
Don't have too many options. I mean, it's Rek'Sai, Kha'Zix, Olaf.
It's one of the really remaining jungler that can bring some utility. So it is a physical damage. You could have gone with Kha'Zix here, which would have been a choice that many other teams would have selected. However, they do go ahead and take away the Rek'Sai. We have seen some Jarvan attempts as well, but I think that Jarvan jungle has seen much better days.
Keep that guy in the top lane,
3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Actually 4. Make that 4 seasons ago. That's when Bengi was playing it when SKT won their
Back
first
to the
season.
day joints, man. And we do have the LeBlanc last pick here for BBQ, so we're going to see this other pick in the mid lane that doesn't see too much play in LCK Summer. I mean, you see it from time to time. It was definitely a very contested pick in spring when it was essentially broken for the majority of it.
And the itemization is one of the reasons for LeBlanc falling out of flavor. Banshee's first item is what you can expect out of Mickey, and not only will that mean that he can't get picked up with Chains of Corruption, even because he has Cleanse, but LeBlanc's combos are going to be slowed down. Lee Sin, if he can't proc the Banshees right away, is not going to be able to get an insect from the get-go. So LeBlanc will have to be making a lot of moves into other sides of the map because the itemization is just so smooth. You have a Fiendish Codex, you have the Null Magic Mantle with your Blasting One, so really easy to step into dealing with LeBlanc and not getting surprised by any crazy burst quite early on.
Yeah, Mickey looking to be the MVP once again for his team. You guys can see the lineup they got going on this time. Very how Mighty Bear will play the Rek'Sai. And once again, a whole bunch of damage coming out of the side of BBQ.
At least they have a tank now. Braum can step in front of the traps. They can clear them. You have Unbreakable to prevent it. So a bit of a better chance for BBQ this time around.
Yeah, definitely does look that way. So, guys, go out there, tell your friends that ROX versus BBQ is on, the biggest match of LCK Summer. The two animals going head-to-head. Let's jump into game number 2 right now.
I couldn't have said it better myself. The two animals in the LCK going head-to-head there with tigers versus... But you know, tigers versus chickens, is that really such a...
I mean, chickens, you know, they can fly a little bit. They can scare the tigers. I saw a post on Reddit that actually...
A chicken can scare a tiger?
Yeah, they can flap around a little bit, blow up some dust into the tiger's face.
Pocket sand them.
Yeah, sand attack, man. The most annoying attack in all of Pokemon. And
I thought Harden was the most annoying attack.
No, I'm
You're not a Harden kind of guy?
No, definitely not a Harden kind of guy. Definitely sand attack for me.
You know, I beat the entire Elite Four with only one Pokemon.
Oh yeah, that's pretty common.
Oh,
I thought
I was really special.
Level it
actually.
to level 100, your starter, and you think
no,
you're all cool.
It was Hypno.
Oh, that's a good choice too.
Confusion or Hypnosis into Dream Eater.
GG. I don't know if what do they call it? Not season 1, not tier 1. You know, red and blue.
The first generation.
Yeah, first generation. There it is. I don't think it was balanced too much. I think psychic Pokemon were pretty strong.
I'm not a balanced design. I just play the game for the lulz.
For the lulz. Is that how you play League?
No, that's my livelihood. But in the meantime, Linderang getting surprised by Bless hitting level 2 and starting red side.
The flash extremely early. Very safe play from Linderang, but definitely could be in some danger here in about 3 minutes.
The invade does get scouted from that vision, but it doesn't affect Mighty Bear much as he is not needing blue buff. But they are collapsing, trying to defend this blue buff. Bizarre defend on this. Talia is on her way.
Okay, no blasting plant. Bear trap on a rope will be, severed there, but Mickey coming on up. This is a weird play. They're going to force the flash out of Crazy at the very least.
And Mighty Bear fire chase as he made his way from the red side jungle all the way to the top lane without securing any camp. So he will not even be able to answer with a blue buff steal. So in the end, I think it's a worthwhile trade for BBQ here.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, getting that Lee Sin, definitely, a provocative idea for the ROX Tigers. They're trying to go for that pick, but definitely did not work out.
However, that does split the map in the top half, so now Lee Sin does jungle in that quadrant. And with both top laners not having flash, you can expect a revisit, considering how easy it is to gank Rumble. And if Kled does get the harass that you can expect out of Rumble, once the Flame Spitter does its due diligence, and these junglers can visit the lane as they both offer a good mix of damage and crowd control.
Taking a look at the mid lane just a little bit, you can see Mickey is having a tiny bit of trouble. He's still got 2 pods, so should be quite fine, even in the CS exactly so far.
Here comes Mighty Bear. He's trying to get the Scuttle Crab. He's not feeling ambitious enough to go for the blue buff, considering that LeBlanc's collapse is really strong, and Rom, because they're pushed in, they can also collapse quickly. Thresh is going to help him out. Here's the collapse. There is a ward that Rumble can teleport to.
Oh, Linderang is towards mid lane too, trying to make something happen. Getting close enough. See who can secure this blue buff. It will reset. And Bless ward hopping forward. Key is going to put an end to that with the flay back. So no blue buff steal there for the ROX Tigers.
Yeah, so they defend the ward, or the blue buff. Not the greatest buff to fight around over, but it does. Bless does maintain a bit of an advantage here, as he does quickly hit level 4 and has the blue buff to help him jungle a little bit faster with the energy regeneration. You were saying how we don't get good dragons. That's a fire dragon. That's an Infernal, my bad.
Yeah.
I was speaking silent words.
Yeah. Scared me a little bit.
But the Infernal means that the 2 teams that are playing to the bottom side, with Caitlyn and Thresh pushing in 24/7 with the kill pressure post level 6 of BBQ, means that we can have some serious fighting going on, as Rumble is one of the guys that always wants to fight around the pit. So vision in that area will be imperative. LeBlanc and Lee Sin have to pair up together, go with the buddy system, get some deep vision, and that means that once they secure that, can convert into that first Infernal. When you're dealing with a composition with 4 guys that benefit from it tremendously, or they benefit from it quite well, considering that they're all going to be building damage, it's an objective that you expect these teams to give their life for.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see some plays eventually, especially once level 6 is hit. Both of these teams. So far, the early games of both Game 1 and Game 2 have been kind of more laid back. We had some good plays in this one, at least.
It's a bit of a lullaby here in this early game. At least the flashes were burned, and Les does try to visit the top side, but without his Dragon's Rage up, chances of securing a kill are low.
Okay, we do have Mighty Bear waiting in the wings now. See if we can get that death sentence. It will get the brawl. Knock up here with the Ignite, trying to jump away. That could be first blood. Going over to Songyun. Nice pickup for him early on in this game.
Even though the traps miss, they are able to secure the kills onto Totoro, and that's first blood going to the Kaylin. So a great read once again from ROX, playing to their team composition. They understand that, okay, we first pick our Caitlyn, let's make sure that we ensure that the pick that we're banking on succeeds. And as such, they're doing a fine job, just like they did game 1. Mighty Bear commits his flash, commits some of his route to the bottom side, and this man has carried before. Last time around, we saw him against the Freaks. Oh, my bad. It was against KT, the ROX Tigers, where they were making really good moves with the Kalista on Sangyu. So they have put emphasis on him to carry before, and he has delivered, and we can expect him to do it again with the lead that he's received 2 games in a row.
Good dodge there from Linderong. It seems like he just barely got his flash up in time once again to get away from that dash, or from that gank, rather. I'm not sure about the similarity between those two.
Here's another rotation from ROX, trying to swap out to the turret. However, BBQ does read it. And I believe this was the move that ROX were making against KT in their match that really caught KT off guard 3 games in a row, yielding them a first brick. They didn't miscalculate against the Rumble that last time around, and this time BBQ does read it and respond with their own dual lane, but they just respond once again and recall themselves. So they don't want to commit to this 2v2. They really want to get some advantages into this laning phase. And a bit curious. I can understand it considering that they have burned both their flashes and don't want to open themselves up to getting 5-man gank with the double teleports. But they do have that BS sword advantage, and nope, they just go, why would they base if they're going right back? All right.
Lots of indecision here. Some hesitation, if you will.
That
from the side of the ROX Tigers. Uh-oh.
Blast cone.
Tempt actually showed himself a little bit too early. I think they were going to take that blast cone over the wall.
Here's the Rumble TP.
Okay, huge fight breaking out now as Mighty Bear is going to be blown up in the back line. Tempt able to land those chains, but Linderong will be forced to dash away.
Okay, this overcommitment for ROX to go for these swaps is costing them now because they lost a guy this time around. Last game they did lose that first brick, so a bit of tunnel vision onto the game plan that did work in the previous game, but BBQ has done the research and they have adapted weapon in game 1. So we'll take another look right there. They do get opened up with the ward from Temp, trying to get that 2 chains onto Mighty Bear. At least he gets a heal out. But the 2 teleports come out, and Rumble is always going to be more impactful when it comes to these early game fights. The equalizer gets laid down, starts roasting the rest of these ROX.
You see Mighty Bear flash into 4 members. That was a little bit risky. And, well, it seems like the rotation is working out for now as there's no pressure in the bot lane for BBQ. And lots of damage being done to this top turret by the ROX Tigers.
Mickey's committing. They're going to 4-man this, and surely they're going to be able to get it as the response from BBQ is a bit too slow. There it goes.
Yeah, nice pickup for them. Really no response from BBQ. They were just kind of hanging around, not able to collapse fast enough.
And in this situation, what BBQ needs to be doing is just ignoring the move. Understand that they have lost that objective and find something else. But you saw Temp rotate from middle straight to the top side, and not only was he unable to push out the mid lane and get some sort of CS advantage, he didn't participate in defending that turret as he was too late. And when you're playing this reactively, it makes the moves that ROX are making, which are not the cleanest, they make them look good because it forces the enemy team to respond and not get anything in return, whereas they should just be ignoring the move and try to get something themselves, maybe try to go for a dive onto the bottom side, secure a dragon instead, but as a result, they do lose that first brick, and now we're sitting at a bit of 1,000 gold lead up for the ROX Tigers, which is exactly where they want to be, considering that once again, their late game scaling with Caitlyn is going to be so difficult to fight when only Braum can step on traps, and even he's going to hit a point where those are going to be too dangerous to trigger.
And now you might have a bit of a trade of objectives as ROX decides to go onto the Rift Herald, whereas immediately BBQ goes for the Infernal Drake. It seems like that was their idea from before, so ROX will get some, early game pressure. Maybe they can take out that mid tier 1, which would be very nice, but still the Infernal Drake will go over to BBQ.
You always want to look for the mid lane turret with this objective, and they are in position to do so as the dual lane is there. He channels it from the brush. but nobody's here from BBQ to answer right away for the wave clear, so they're going to be looking for a fight.
They want to take a fight.
Yeah.
Oh, man, the Sonic Wave, the chains will get him, but again, it's Rek'Sai. He can just kind of burrow away, and at least they do zone him out from the Rift Heralds, but they do have to back off.
They have to respect the fact that they're in a position where if they were to lose that fight, it would be a disaster. And Kled wasn't ready to respond. He had just based and not in an angle to go for a charge coming from the jungle.
Looks like ROX still committing to pushing the mid lane, but against that Varus.
And that Herald use was suboptimal. But then again, I think that's what we can expect out of Heralds this time around. Any good use of Herald we can severely praise as, wow, that was great. Finally, the objective is being used to its fullest potential. It's fulfilling its destiny, although most times it just dies at the hands of a turret and a couple of auto attacks from no net gain.
I mean, it did a little bit of damage, but so far I'm liking the Infernal Drake take BBQ a little bit better. Nice dodge there from Tempt actually will help to clean up the wave too.
Rek'Sai is gesturing to the bottom side of the map, and Talia is as well, but Lee Sin's nowhere to be found. He gets spotted out in the river, and Lantern does get used, but this is fine with BBQ so far. Bless commits. Oh, they're going hard for this one.
Oh, nice knock up there, and immediately igniting Bless to try to say, okay, get the hell out of here. And with that rotation, I mean, LeBlanc was in the bot lane, and finally the Rift Herald seems to pay off as Mickey gets a chance here to take out this mid-tier 1.
Just such a forced attempt. That's what we saw last time around. It was the BBQ going for, actually it was a ROX Tiger sitting in the brush, forcing that objective that was capitalized so beautifully from BBQ, and this time around they commit a teleport. They themselves are the ones pulling the trigger when the time just isn't right, and they lose out on that teleport, they lose out on pressure, and end up giving that tier 1 turret for absolutely free, and that's just the last thing you want to be doing. The wards need to be better placed, so bit of a oversight in vision for BBQ that's preventing them from making the moves that are necessary to stall out this game.
Kind of just seems like they're grasping at straws here. I mean, they had a very rough time in game 1, and you were talking a little bit about morale in that game. Well, they had to endure essentially knowing they were going to lose the game for about 15 minutes and then eventually lose. And now they're really trying to get ahead with some of their picks. They pick up that LeBlanc last. They're trying to, pick off the Rek'Sai if he gets a little bit too far forward. But good responses so far out of ROX means that, again, BBQ just kind of making some desperate plays here.
And that's one of the things that we praise ROX for in their series against KT, where they're able to keep up macro-wise. Granted, KT wasn't looking the sharpest that we expect the team to look, but there were semblances of understanding the game well with the rotations that they were making around turrets, with their ability to go for Barons that were seemingly a little too risky, but they understood their limits well and were able to make it work.
Trading here in the mid lane, Mickey getting a little bit frisky, loses Banshee's Veil and is forced to cleanse the stun there from LeBlanc. Got a nice little push happening up here in the top lane from BBQ. There was no response out of ROX Tigers.
There could be a teleport coming through here, though. Oh, that well. It's a monument.
Coming up a little bit short. Poor guy.
There was a threat of the teleport from Linderang, so they have to back off. And ROX very carefully recognized that if they were to commit for that tier 2 trade again, then Crazy would have just equalized the wave, and they would have lost out on that tier 2. So they back away after the tier 1 trade, and they're happy to just take over the lane, protect that tier 2, push it all the way to the top side, and start setting a vision around the top side of the map.
I like how Tempt is handling that Banshee's Veil so far. He's just showing up, queuing the Talia and backing off, and then opening up another opportunity to go onto the Talia, especially without her cleanse.
Yeah. You know what stat I want to look for that I actually think would be putting Key and Sangyun at the top of the table is how many times they're recalling the game. It looks like they're just in base more than anyone else.
They just can't seem to make up their minds. Do they want to go top? Do they want to go bottom?
That's the ultimate mind game. How can you know what your opponent is doing when seemingly even themselves don't know what they're doing?
That's true. Sometimes you got to do that in lots of different games, actually. Not just League of Legends. And uh-oh, Crazy. What are you doing up there in the brush all by yourself?
But Temp blew his teleport, so he's going to try to salvage this, but doesn't account for the 3-man. Oh, that actually does.
Oh boy, look at Temp going in. Not able to pick up the kill, actually going back to try to help out Crazy, and it will not pay off.
The minion just saves Mickey's life. He flashes in, tries to commit the kill with the chain, but the minion, brother minion there, saves Mickey's life, and BBQ, while they do lose that member and the teleport, are in a position to rotate to the mid-tier 1, so they make the best out of a worse situation, but here comes the teleport.
Okay, teleport from behind. Linderong, let's see if he can land that. It will be onto Totoro. Big knockups here, Chain of Corruption, it will not matter as the ROX Tigers do pick up another kill and deny the kill.
Pings go onto that tier 2. Now the tiny little scratches that they've done with some waves before. Turret here. Here's LeBlanc.
Here's LeBlanc trying to come in, and actually does chunk Songyun pretty well, but can't do it all alone. There's no equalizer. Bless, he hasn't really caught anyone in this series on the Lee Sin. And there you have it. So let's take a look at this replay.
So Crazy does his best stalling tactic here. He's going to lay down the equalizer, sits on top of it, trying to cook the members with his Zhonya's on. So great mechanics there, but Tempt here. The flash onto the minion. Oh! No, that would have been the kill, and that's a heartbreaker.
Poor LeBlanc, man.
Maybe it's time to decommission this pick. There's a reason why it hasn't seen much play, even on a global scale. Maybe picked a handful of times, and maybe even picked more in the Challenger Series over in North America than anywhere else. So maybe the Kassadin. Why not just the Kassadin? We've seen it before.
I mean, the Kassadin, in theory and in solo queue, it's been seeing a lot of success. No doubt these teams have been scrimming with it and playing with it to some amount of success. To see it picked the amount of times we have, but so far it doesn't have the best win rate in LCK. I think teams are getting a little bit, okay, hold that thought. Big play on a Mickey does not work out as Bless kind of just goes absent, and Totoro and Ghost totally caught out. We'll see if they can actually convert onto a kill. The equalizer doesn't hit Linderong at all. Crazy is going to Zhonya's way early, actually.
So disjointed from BBQ. Not really sure what they're thinking there. The kick with no follow-up. Meanwhile, Ghost and Totoro can't take on the 2v2 of the mid laner and top laner, obviously. But ROX's dual lane just doesn't care. They still have their mind set on the objective. And this Caitlyn is not a marksman. She's a demolitions expert, as her entire job has just been to take down turrets. And we'll take another look here.
Look at this play.
Les commits for a flash kick.
Baby.
But where's the follow-up? There's no it literally isolates the two members to take on the two strongest members from ROX.
It kicks Mickey into Ghost and Totoro. And the equalizer doesn't miss. Crazy, he Zhonya's before committing to the kill onto Mickey. I mean, nothing is going right for this team. Absolutely nothing.
At least they'll have chicken when they get home.
At least they've got a pretty good sponsor. That's something we can all agree on.
Food always makes me happy, so I'd imagine it works the same for every person.
Yeah, I would imagine. Food also makes me happy when I'm hungry.
Well, we did see ROX trying to go for another one of those 20-minute Baron attempts. This time around, they were too low, and BBQ does call it out. But it seems like this game is reaching the same point that we had last time around. While the compositions are different and there is enough damage on the BBQ lineup to kill some of the members of ROX, who's going to lane against Kled? That's a 2-0-2 Kled against a 0-1-0 Rumble.
Well, Temp's going in looking for the pick. Chain of Corruptions actually does land. Kind of looks funky there, but either way, they do pick up that kill. That's a nice pick there onto Mickey.
Great pick onto Mickey, and they're going to have to be patient if they game. Going for the Baron would be a risky move, so they just clear out the vision. Smart move by them, making sure that they commit for the tier 1. Taking out the tier 1 is more important before they start thinking about the big purple worm.
And you can see kind of Mickey, he wasn't too far up in the lane, but you know, sometimes with some of these players, they just seem to get caught out a little bit more often than other players. I mean, you think about Hatani, comeback, right? You think about Mickey also, even Ian as well from MVP.
You just went down your list of flame.
List of what?
The list of flame.
List of flame.
Yeah, the flame list.
List of flame blame. Yeah, pretty much. But you were talking about that Galio, right? How it's like actually good for Mickey because even if he does get caught, he can't really die.
Well, that's actually really similar to the meta where Ezreal was in play, where teams would pick Ezreal really early on, even if it didn't make a lot of sense because their AD carries would be feeding a lot. So then you just pick them the champion that was the hardest to kill because at the time you could build Frozen Fist on it, making him tankier than any other AD, as well as having the Arcane Shift. So a similar attempt here with the Galleon to Mickey, but Ghost will be getting caught out by Mickey in a 3-on-1.
Really nice play there from Mickey. I mean, well, hold that thought. We're going to have more of a fight as dashing in on the Totoro. Nice knock up, and Mickey does get a little bit low. Tempt, though, not enough damage. Is forced to hop back. Mickey does survive with his flash, and again, he can smell it. He can smell Ghost up in the top lane all alone. He's like, that's a kill for me. And he puts a wall through the entirety of the BBQ team, just ignores them all, and catches Ghost alone up in the top lane. That's what he's good for. And oh boy, BBQ getting out of position once again. 3-on-5, not going to work out. Make that a 2-on-5 now as ROX make their moves towards Baron.
There's dead, and there is no equalizer, so staying in the pit and making the decision of committing to the Baron or turning is going to be that much easier. BBQ doesn't even give it a chance. They decide to ignore the Baron and look for greener pastures as Rumble is warding the red side jungle, and unfortunately he's not going to be able to find that red buff right now. Oh, it just spawned in his face. It was 1 minute away, so the trade goes Baron and the kill for red buff. On to
nice.
The Rumble. Rumble in
red
the jungle.
Buff Rumble. Hey, at least it does give health regeneration. Did you know that, Crumbs?
Yeah, and when he gets his overheat, his passive will now deal that much more damage as it is more effective on melee champions.
He just ignores everyone else. He's like, no, I'm going for Ghost.
So there's no way anybody can follow up with the wall now that Linderang is in the mix. When it's this line formation on the fights, it becomes nearly impossible for BBQ to take anybody out. Between LeBlanc and Lee Sin, two champions that ideally want to be flanking all the time, being relegated to look at the opponent straight in the eye and say, we're going to go in straight at you, it makes it so much harder for them to pull off their win condition in the fights. And as such, they have lost most of the fights in Game 1 and in Game 2.
Oh, he's going to land that chain onto Mickey. The cleanse comes out. Everything is being used here for Mickey. Somehow, someway, BBQ still does get that dragon, and now Mickey, he wants revenge, and he will get it here onto Tempt. So they do trade the Mountain Drake for the kill onto Tempt.
And ROX is now thinking about how can this punish this man down. LeBlanc doesn't have teleport. She's going to be dead for 34 seconds, so they have their side sets on the tier 2, which surely will go down as BBQ can't defend this in the 4-man unit, but can they push for more? Thinking about an inhibitor turret would be the next logical step, considering a 7,000 gold lead and a Caitlyn that now can't even get caught. Because she has the QSS, she has that Lantern. Oh, just such a nightmare to deal with when the Caitlyn gets so strong.
We were talking about that early draft focus. The Caitlyn has been doing work for them so far. 2-0-3 in this game. Chain of Corruption does land, but there's the QSS. Songyun will get out alive. And they can continue their push here with the Baron buff.
Easy peasy, turret's at half HP. You have the little minion Trebuchet attacking from the far.
Oh, Tempt. Oh, Tempt. So tempting, isn't it?
Such a provocative cannon minion there saying,
yeah.
dare to kill me, but it's taking the turret one little purple shot at a time. And there's no way for them to answer this. Are they going to commit spells to this or commit spells for the fight between Lee Sin and Varus, whose abilities are so crucial for taking down these battles? Oh, it goes wide.
The way these games have been going against the other 0-3 team, I'd be feeling pretty insecure about my chances in LCK as Team BBQ. They're going to have to really turn it around in the second half.
They're going to really have to heat things up.
They just have to fry the game, you know what I mean? That's their motto. Hasn't been working so far.
Here's LeBlanc, but she just can't commit to trading her combo into Caitlyn, where you trade one spell for an auto attack against a crit chance. Not worth it.
Oh, he's going deep. He wants that kill onto Bless, and now Mighty Bear left alone. Oh, he gets out with the lantern. Equalizer gets the kill. Okay. Finally, they're able to heat up something, fry up, cook up some food here for their team. It's not going to matter, though.
But they burned so many cooldowns, and now they don't have any way to answer back this 4-man unit. They have to heal up at the fountain, so they will lose that inhibitor. And now that they're stuck in the 2-inhibitor situation, it is really difficult to get out of the situation.
Nice play there from Linderon. Just getting a little bit dicey after that second inhibitor, but able to charge away, avoid that CC as well from the LeBlanc.
The movement speed just really helping out the entire team there. Good move of getting out of the base. A lot of the times you'll see the carries, or the tanks, which are faster, lead first, but wait for the carries. So the hook hits Lee Sin as they protect Rumble. The 3-man kick, though, pretty good. However, Sangyun had procced his Peacemaker before the kick hit, so he goes through and takes him out.
This looks a lot like game number 1, actually. You know, all the dragons going to the side of BBQ, the early Baron attempts from the Tigers, taking out the 2 inhibitors and pushing that final lane with seemingly no hope for the Roosters.
Well, it comes to attention now about the dragons versus turrets war, and dragons are the scaling objective. If you don't have the gold and items to make your dragons worth it, then dragon was just never the right objective to go for, whereas ROX prioritize the turrets, prioritize vision no matter what the dragons are, and with the gold lead that they're able to get, their itemizations and levels are infinitely more valuable than having extra region or a percentage of AP and AD when you just don't even have that much.
Nice equalizer up there in the top left onto both Key and Sangyun. But again, Tigers are pretty far ahead, about 10,000 gold, in fact, at this point, so they easily can heal up all that damage out of the Rumble, and he won't have that equalizer in the future to clear out some of these waves.
All they need here is patience. Lay down the trap, chip away at the tower, but they are not patient at all. They go for the dive.
Yep, they're going for it. They're going to take out Ghost here in the back. Mighty Bear almost going down. Totoro will also meet his doom. Lots of flashes, lots of flashy plays as well out of the ROX Tigers. As you said, not being patient. Sangyun trying to show off a little bit here. Wants that kill. We'll pick up another one. That's going to be a double. Going over to Sangyun, and it looks like a double kill for the ROX Tigers as well, as they look to take their second game and take the 2-0 victory quite fast, actually, over the BBQ Olivers.
And the promising victory from them, getting out of that hole of 0-3, really making BBQ look real bad in this series. They did show some windows of exploitation in their duo lane rotations. However, a solid victory. Some good macro play from this team that is hopeful for their next matches.
Yeah, they finally did it, as you were saying. A lot of their matches were 1-2. They were getting close. They were taking games, but finally, they should feel good about this 2-0 over BBQ, because call a spade, BBQ, not the strongest team here. Able to quickly sweep them under the rug with a 2-0 victory will definitely instill some confidence.
Was there even anything to sweep under the rug at this point? It didn't really seem like BBQ were even playing the same game. Almost all their attempts were just disjointed, non-coordinated. Just go down the list of adjectives for that. And I think the real epitome of it was in that dive in the bottom lane where Lee Sin kicks Linderang closer to the duo lane that gets 2v2'd by the two solo laners, which are obviously higher level than the duo lane. So looks of concern on the side of BBQ, and for good reason.
Crazy. Seems like he's got a lot to say about that series. I feel like his Rumble was okay. It was decent. You know, he wasn't really getting caught. He had some pretty good equalizers, but the rest of his team kind of letting him down.
It's always hard to be a top laner when you're sitting there, you're like, hey, I'm getting a CS lead. I'm doing good. Guys, I can TP if you need it. It's like, don't TP. We're dead already. don't worry about it, man. You did good
Stay
job.
up in top lane and keep your 60 CS lead. It doesn't matter. Poor guy. But either way, let's take a look at some of these replays.
This is that first attempt that actually went BBQ's way with the teleport from Crazy. You're mentioning that he had a pretty decent game. He did what he could. An equalizer, and here once again doing what he can, stalling out, hoping that his team can back him up, but Temp just 1 minion away from at least trading 1-for-1.
So painful. Crazy dies here, of course. Temp's not wanting to stick around, and getting caught in the mid lane like this was not too good as well.
And this was them responding to a play that ROX previously made. They're trying to say, maybe we can get the tier 2, and this is what I'm talking about. Here comes Bless.
This is the anti-highlight for BBQ.
He's like, oh, wait, you're telling me I can just turn? Oh, all right, I'll turn.
The late TP2 just adds insult to injury. It's like, And here the Zonias, where it's like, oh, I can just go forward and maybe kill
It's
Mickey.
like the Cirque du Soleil. Watch me fly around, and why? Just because I can.
ROX did a good job of really capitalizing on the mistakes of BBQ. Really loved the wall play there from Mickey. Good lantern there from Mickey to give him just enough health to survive that so he can flash away from Temp. Going to the results, not even a single Drake taken this time by the ROX Tigers.
It's back to the drawing board for BBQ. The draft was questionable considering the play that committed to an early game tactic that failed and met the same fate in game 2.
So we will be hearing from our MVP soon enough. It doesn't have to be the MVP here, but sometimes it is. And add a little bit of spoiler, Mickey was the MVP in game number 1. But let's throw that over to the interview right now.
Hi, this is Jason, your translator, and we have Mickey for the interview. So it's your first victory for the season. How you feel about it? So I felt we should really never lose this match, so we're really happy to win. And it had kind of relief. And we're trying to work better to get higher ranks. So you pick Galio and get MVP points for playing it, but you're actually the one who made like offensive champion, so what made you pick Galio? I have confidence that I can use Galio as a really offensive champion, and also I wasn't really thinking of using Galio as mid lane. I was rather thinking of playing Zed, but actually the playing Galio was the plan B, but it worked out as playing Galio, so I think I did pretty well. So it was not my own decision, but it was Zed or Galio, but they thought Zed was better, our teammates, so yeah, I turned out playing Galio. Can you guess the second MVP for the match 2? To be honest, we didn't really talk about it in the gaming booth, but I think it's me. So you're right, you're the MVP for 2 times in a row. He said he was really actually expecting it. Yeah, he think he could lead the whole game. He made small team fights by himself, so that's how he win the game. You're coughing quite a lot. Are you like nervous? It's just I think I have a slight cold, so I better be going to see the doctor. In the second game, you were in the blue bands, but you kind of banned Zach. So why was that? And he said he's kind of curious because they're thinking of using Zach's jungle, but they're kind of like confused, concentrating on the red side bans, so they kind of missed it and made a Zach ban. But as a result, we won the match, so they don't really care much. What was the play of the game moment? The whole moment when I was like taking all the damage as a Galio. So next game is versus Longzhu, so you better be preparing a lot. Is there any plans? First of all, we should perform as well as we did today. And if we can, I'm kind of confident that we can have a really good fight versus Longzhu. And last message for your fans. Thank you for cheering for us, even though we were losing the whole games. And from today, we're gonna make it to straight wins. So we really appreciate your love and support. Thank you. And this is the end of the interview. Thank you.
So there you have it. Hearing from Mickey, not just words. I hope he does go see the doctor.
Not just words.
Kind of scared me there a little bit, but yeah, showing his passion, I suppose. And finally, as he was saying, they've taken a lot of losses, and finally they're able to take a win. They're saying, please fans, don't leave us. Please still love us, and hopefully they can take that win against Longzhu, especially after Jin-Air took the 2-1 victory over Longzhu. It's definitely possible.
Jin-Air did look really good, though. And it was funny to hear from Mickey saying how he wanted to play Zed, but coach is like, you play Galio.
Yeah, play Galio, man. You're stuck. So there you have it. ROX Tigers, they do move up to 8th place, actually, ahead of Ever 8. Especially after Ever 8 got bopped yesterday by SKT. It was not close. And BBQ down at 0-4, the lone 10th place team.
It's still early in the season, right? We still have plenty of games. The first half is still underway. But signs of struggle for BBQ, to say the least, as drafting, team composition, synergy, the list goes on, and it probably goes even deeper than we can imagine. It's an iceberg of issues that we hope that they can start melting away come these later games.
Yeah, for sure. And we're getting almost every team there in the standings up to 4 games played. So it'll be interesting to take a look at the standings after the second series of the night, which will be KT versus MVP. Unfortunately, because this series did end in a jiffy, we are going to have to take a really long break. I think it's going to be about an hour and 20 minutes. So me and Crumbs are going to sit on the couch and do nothing.
No, I'm totally getting food. Getting myself some Japanese squid balls.
Well, there you go. So anyway, guys, we're going to go to that break. We'll meet you at about 8 p.m. KST. See you then.